I'm Peter Kullmann from the Human-Computer Interaction Group at the University of Würzburg. On behalf of my co-authors, I'll be sharing our research on how partial face animations affect self-avatar perception in headset-based XR. Take a moment to think about the last time you looked at your reflection. You likely didn't even consciously register the movements in your face, adjustments in your expression, such as the raise of your brows or a smirk. Now, imagine looking in that mirror and seeing your face, but with stiff eyebrows or its mouth staying still while you try to smile. Nonverbal behavior in general is crucial to interpersonal communication and self-perception, and faces are very prominent to us. Now, when we meet in virtual, augmented, or mixed reality, our faces matter too. For other people's avatars, state-of-the-art methods can synthesize plausible facial expressions from sparse data, such as headset movement and voice. But when we see ourselves, there's a crucial difference. We feel our own expressions. We know how our face should move. And while face tracking technology is becoming more accessible and will continue to advance, access to facial data will likely remain complex, whether due to hardware limitations, operating system restrictions, or privacy choices. This creates three scenarios we commonly encounter. Full face tracking when all sensors have access, partial face tracking when sensors or permissions only cover certain areas, and no tracking when sensors are unavailable or access is restricted. This motivated us to ask, when we can only track or animate part of the face, how does this affect perception of our virtual selves? Let's first look at what we know about facial expressions and their role in virtual environments. Different facial regions tell different parts of the story. In the upper face, the eyes are our attention anchors. If they are moving instead of static, it's easier to identify with self-avatars. Static upper faces can provoke an unsettling response. For the lower face, exaggerated expressions can help make a better impression and aid speech perception. When we combine these elements in full face animation, they become somewhat bigger than the sum of its parts. Early work reported that the eyes contribute most to perceiving animacy in a face. Increasing self-face animation levels can increase ratings for embodiment and facement and self-identification. Animating another's face can also increase how natural and plausible they are perceived. But here's what we don't yet fully understand. How do these effects play out when we can only animate part of the face? Does partial animation help or hurt our self-perception? Is it half a face, half the self? Our study investigated how facial animations influence key aspects of self-perception. So we separated the face into an upper area and a lower area, which we either did or did not animate. We looked at three key aspects of self-perception: avatar embodiment, self-identification, and uncanniness, together with most or least liked aspects and open participant feedback. We assumed that self-identification and embodiment was highest for full face animation and higher for partial coverage compared to no animation. For uncanniness, we expected inconsistent animation levels, which is one region animated, the other static, to be more uncanny than consistent animation levels, both regions static or both regions animated. Among the most and least liked aspects, we assumed to see more mentions of face aspects if there is any face animation. As experiment preparation, we first reconstructed participant bodies from multi-view images. We also captured personal manifestations of individual facial expressions to personalize facial blend shapes. In our experiment, participants put on a face-tracking MetaQuest Pro headset and saw their mirrored self-avatar. They went through several rounds of seeing a hypothetical scenario prompt. They were instructed to interpret them non-verbally and then were shown a gallery of all our reactions as a reminder. They then rated the mirror image representation and got to briefly revisit and explore it without task pressure. Finally, They removed the headset and provided the overall verdict and comments in the final survey. Here is what the face animation looked like in the 4 conditions. We included 83 datasets in our analysis. Let's look at some of the findings. The data clearly showed one of our assumed effects. Showing full face animation overall showed the most benefits for embodiment and self-identification. Against our expectations, the 2 partial animation conditions did not differ significantly from the no animation condition. We had anticipated significant differences for uncanniness ratings between inconsistent and consistent face animations. These did show up, but not for all dimensions in our expected direction. In line with our expectations, participants rated inconsistent animation as less human and less attractive. The dimension eeriness, however, showed the inverse. Inconsistent face animation was rated as less eerie than consistent face animation. For the multiple choice picks of least and most liked avatar aspects, we had assumed there would be more picks of face-related factors if any face animation was present. While there were descriptively fewer mentions of face aspects in the group without face animation, there were no significant differences. In sum, participants with access to the most expression seem to have formed the best impression of their avatars. Interestingly, participants with static lower faces rated their avatars as more self-similar than participants with animated lower faces. Based on participant feedback, we ascribe this to the inner mouth. It might stem from us not having personalized the avatar model's teeth and inner mouth. The open feedback overall showed participants ambivalence about their mirror experience. One, for example, described it to have been unpleasant but fascinating at the same time. As practical advice, we suggest to use whole face animation when pursuing high levels of avatar embodiment. In use cases where self-identification might be crucial, such as mind-body therapy, it might make sense to keep the mouth shut if teeth and inner mouth are not personalized. Please find more details in the paper and the supplemental material linked here. Thank you.